the day the music died. What am I talking about, Daniel?
I believe you were talking about the Country Bear Jamboree at Disney World.
Yes, the Country Bear Jamboree at Walt Disney World. This weekend is D23. That's where you receive all the Disney updates from parks. I think they talk about shows, everything. Good news from that, Figment Meet and Greet is coming back. We love Figment. I love Figment specifically. Would you wait 4 hours for Figment?
No.
Would you wait?
I'd drop you off in that line and go drink around the world and
would
pick
you
you
rope
back up
drop
after.
Figment with me? You would do that with me.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, you would. Yeah, you would. But we also got some unfortunate news about the Country Bear Jamboree. While it's sticking around, they're changing it. And I know everyone should be like, oh, you should be happy that they're keeping the attraction. No, I am not happy. The name change of one of the characters, that's fine with me. I understand why that needs to happen. I'm not going to get into that. That I understand. But changing the show and the songs that make that attraction unique and unhinged and chaotic, I don't want to see the Country Bears
And sexy.
And sexy. Those bears, they like to drink. They like to party. They're just, it's just what I'm here for. The unhinged chaos of that show.
So what are they doing?
They are changing it to have them sing country versions of Disney songs. So like The Bare Necessities is the little clip that we got. That's a fine song. I love Disney songs. Half my Spotify playlist is Disney songs. I don't want to go see the Country Bear Trio sing Let It Go. I want them to sing All the Guys That Turn Me On, Turn Me Down. I want to hear Big Al butt in with another rendition of Blood on the Saddle. Can you give me a little line of Blood on the Saddle, please?
There was blood on the saddle.
That's what I want. And blood all around. But anyway.
And a big, big puddle
if you haven't
of
seen
blood on the ground.
I thought the look you gave me, you weren't into singing, and then you just snatched my wig just now. But that's the chaotic energy that the Country Bear Jamboree brings. You either like it or you don't like it. And the people that don't like it, you're clearly wrong. It's a great sit. It's good to get out of the heat.
It's a great sit with good air conditioner.
And it's just funny.
my opinion of it is as follows: if they're changing the show, they should have just got rid of it. They should have got rid of it. They should have replaced it with what's the alligator's name from Louie from
and done like a whole jazz show.
Yeah, a whole jazz show and do it like that, and even maybe have a couple of the bears hanging around, but not the frame of the show.
Working the show, like kind of like they're helping
like they
out
got
now.
their show got shut down, so now they're just trying to help the show.
So we still integrate them into the cast.
Instead, they're just going to do this. Nobody's going to care about this.
It's inserting the Disney IP, and a lot of people do want that. I say use the Disney IP to make new rides, new attractions, new things. Don't basically, to me, this is lazy.
It's lazy and it's soulless.
How can we give this ride a facelift or attraction without doing much?
That attraction has a soul.
Yes.
And it's not going to have one any longer because it's just going to be corporate Disney crap.
And anytime people go see the Country Bear Jamboree for the first time, they're like, Hope, that was really weird. And I'm like, that's the point.
That's
and that's why we like
it.
it. Anyway.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to We Watch TV, the podcast about the TV that we watch. I am Daniel. She is Hope. This is episode 30-something or other. I don't remember what the number is.
I think it's 33.
Remember,
34.
Remember, this is a spoiler podcast, so all the shows that we're going to talk about, we will be spoiling them completely. So if you haven't seen them, check the show notes. It has a list of all the stuff we're talking about, and you can skip around if you need to, or just don't listen to the episode if you want to watch everything.
We do that for you guys, so
we
that if you are somebody
for you guys
that doesn't want, you're like, well, I'm not caught up with Only Murders this season, so I don't know if I want to listen to this whole episode. Well, we've got you covered. You'll know where you can, peace out, pop back in, or you can, like Daniel said, wait till later, whatever.
So I have sung on this episode and ranted about Disney on this episode. What's next? Is it time for you to rant about something?
Not so much ranting so much.
That's not till later. That's not till we talk about Ahsoka.
Oh, Ahsoka. Can't wait to talk about that. The NFL started. So, really started, Thursday of the days before I'm recording this, that you guys care. So we just finished watching a set of games. I'm still wearing my Steelers shirt like a true fan does, even though the Steelers looked awful. So bad, so bad.
I feel like I got to go back to like the Cordell Stewart, Tommy Maddox days to remember a Steelers team looking that bad early in the season.
What's Tommy Maddox doing these days? Working down at the grocery store? Who knows? Anyway, big college football game coming up this week. So I know that I have several listeners out there that I do consider friends, but you guys are rooting for the wrong team. And I don't normally like to cuss on this podcast, but I think we may need to make an exception. What do you think?
I mean, if your parents would let you do it at the games,
they did
when you were like 7.
No, when I was like 3, my parents would let me say it. You say it first.
Oh, eat shit, Pitt.
Eat shit, Pitts. We got the WU Pitt game, backyard brawl coming up. If our coach doesn't get it together in this game, you may have some rants from me next week.
We want him fired.
Get him out of here.
I'm yelling into the mic a lot today, and I don't know why.
WU did beat Duquesne.
Oh boy.
At the time of this recording. But yeah, big, huge backyard brawl game coming up in college football. So we'll be pretty busy next Saturday. We have a Mothman Festival in our town next Saturday. I got the backyard brawl coming up. A lot of stuff going on. So I know
Am I making chili?
Yes, Daniel's going to make his famous chili. It's going to be
chili.
hopefully a good day, and hopefully WVU doesn't ruin it. But I just had to throw that out there. And for all my friends of that other team listening, I still do like you guys. I know our combined interests today lost. So hopefully you guys, will take it easy on me for saying it. But I just had to say it. Smack talking is fun. And that is a game I'll definitely say, the WVU Pitt game, we should play Pitt every year.
I agree.
Rivalries need to stick around. But in other big, huge news, waiting to rant, not even rant, more like praise, Ahsoka. So,
episode 4 of Ahsoka.
Episode 4 of Ahsoka.
This week. And go ahead.
You want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I thought you were going to start. This is how just, wig snatching. This is the second time I've used the phrase wig snatching, I think, in this same recording. I think I already said that once about something else. Who knows? But we praised the first 2 episodes of Ahsoka. We kind of were a little hard on episode 3. We're like, not a lot happened. I've been complaining about how I have had no breadcrumbs and fed, a buffet, a feast. Episode 4 had everything. I'm going to say this right now. Everybody, listen to me, write it down, whatever. This is the best live action Star Wars that I have seen since the prequels, since I sat in that theater and watched Revenge of the Sith in 2005. This episode had it all. Not even with the little end part, which, whoa, amazing. But the whole episode, I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. We had characters questioning what to do. I know she's not popular right now, but Sabine, huge arc for her. Balin, what a great character. Do you agree?
Probably one of my favorite Star Wars characters. I'm not limiting that by
ever.
I'm not limiting that by Disney. I'm not limiting that by sequel trilogy. I'm saying one of maybe my favorite Star Wars characters ever. R.I.P. Ray Stevenson, because the actor that played him passed away before he even got to see the episodes.
Which really makes me
sad. And before he got to feel the love, because generally speaking,
I feel like everybody likes
his character.
He's definitely on the quote unquote bad side, but he doesn't seem.
But he's interesting.
He's interesting.
He's not.
He's what Kylo Ren should have been.
Yeah.
Which I think Kylo is the most interesting character from the sequels, but I don't think they sold it the way they should. And I felt way more conflict with Balin. He seemed nervous when he and Ahsoka were fighting.
I thought the acting there was when Ahsoka first comes up and he knows, okay, I've got to fight a Jedi.
Yeah.
Like, it's how long has it been since he had to go up against somebody who really knew what they were doing?
And didn't he say the line earlier? He was like, I thought, or what did he say? He's like, it's a shame to lose Ahsoka. There's so few of us left.
Yeah.
And he said that in a previous episode.
Yes, but I felt like the actor was portraying a little bit of I'm nervous about this fight because I'm not entirely
Yeah.
convinced. I know this is Anakin Skywalker's Padawan.
Yeah,
I'm not entirely convinced I can handle her.
exactly. And that I just was on the edge of my seat that entire time. Then we had Sabine, what she's got going on, and she's basically she's having that conflict. Her drive right now, is to not really be the best Jedi I can be. It's Ezra. She wants to get Ezra back. Ezra is her family. She clearly feels guilt.
She's let a connection cloud her judgment.
Which, as Jedis, they're not supposed to form attachments and do these things. But so often, I think I've seen this film before, and I didn't like the ending. So often that happens with Sabine. And I thought, like, regardless of your feelings on that character, I personally like a flawed character. Am I mad at her? The path that she chose, yes. Do I understand? Because in that moment, she wasn't sure where Ahsoka was. She thought Ahsoka's dead, for all she knows, because they make it seem like
she
Ahsoka
might be,
does
for
die.
all we know.
Yeah,
we don't really know.
Wink, wink.
I'm not winking.
Yeah.
Like
Ahsoka's gonna come back.
Yes, she is. They're not going to kill the title character in episode 4 of it.
So she makes the deal with the devil, basically, to pass over the little map thing, and then Balin's like, all right, I'll protect you, right? Is that what he says? Or I'll get you to Ezra or something?
You hand it over, I'll take you to Ezra, I'm not going to kill you.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And then his little Padawan, Shin, shows up, and she's trying to force choke her, and
Crazy
he's like,
eyes.
no, don't. Manic Pixie Star Wars Dream Girl.
Yes.
Is what everybody on the internet's saying about her.
But he kept his word there.
Yeah, he did.
The one character, the dark outfit, turned out to be a fart, basically.
Literally.
A nothing. Just what do you think about that? I think that there's some magical spell thing going on right now with the witch sorceress lady.
I think
it's like I don't know what is her name.
So I think that what that is, and maybe it'll come.
She wants to find Thrawn.
Yeah, Morgan. She wants to find Thrawn, and she is a night witch, a night sister.
So do we think that's what?
And I think she was animating. But I think that was an Inquisitor.
Yeah.
Who had died, and she had kind of reanimated his corpse to a certain extent. And so you got that green flush when when Ahsoka cut him in half. And I think we're kind of to take that as he was just being animated by her witch magic.
There were just all these like crazy theories about it. And there were some people that even thought he was Ezra.
Yeah.
So that turned out to be nothing, but no one cared because it just makes me, I start to well up with tears.
Hello,
even
Snips.
as I say this. What?
Hello, Snips.
Hello, Snips. Oh gosh, I'm literally about to start crying. We turn around, and who is it? The King. Return of the King, Mr. Anakin Skywalker, and the Anakin I wanted. So we all know I liked Obi-Wan, enjoyed Obi-Wan, right? I cried in Obi-Wan. It was special to me, but my flashback of Anakin didn't hit like I wanted it to hit. I got basically Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor cosplaying their roles from Attack of the Clones. But I was so happy at the time. I thought that's what I was ever going to get. So I took it in stride and I was like, you know what? I'm going to roll with it, even though I've got this old Hayden Christensen who still looks good, but he's got the Padawan braid and I'm like, whatever. I know people always are weird about de-aging. No, it worked. It was fine. And if you look closely, people, I've seen some comments like, where's Anakin's scar? It's there. I have analyzed this scene to death. I've taken screenshots. I have a picture of Anakin from this scene on my phone. Because as you guys know, if you've been listening, I am
It's not your background, right?
It's not my background, but it's on my phone. I'm a staunch Anakin apologist. I'm an Anakin girly. I love him. I think he's the most tragic character, but one of the characters with the most captivating stories. And there's still good in him, and I just love him so much. But that's who I wanted. I wanted the Revenge of the Sith Anakin. I wanted the mullet Anakin. And when you hear, it was very faint, the hello snips. And that is the moment, too, that Rosario 100% sold Ahsoka for me. She had been doing a good job with the mannerisms. I saw her face just lit up because you can see this version of Ahsoka that we've been seeing is much more hardened to life. She's not like the, how she once was in the Clone Wars. The child
in the Clone Wars, essentially.
But you saw just her whole face light up, and it was so beautiful. It was so great. I knew I kind of figured Anakin was showing up this episode. I kind of figured it because didn't Disney Plus announce they were doing like a special, like a behind the scenes thing
on Friday.
So I'm like, okay, something's happening. I'm like, is Hayden finally coming back? It's like the worst kept secret of all time. And then I don't know what Dave Filoni, he must like to mess with emotions. So I'm happy I'm seeing Anakin genuinely smile. My Revenge of the Sith Anakin. And what do we hear as we go into the credits?
Darth Vader's theme.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yep.
What does it mean? What does it mean? Because Dave Filoni, don't do this to me. I am not ready to hurt again. I've had enough of Vader and flashbacks of these things. I'm like shaking my microphone. I'm so like, this is how passionate I am. I've had enough Vader. I just want some Anakin. I don't know where they are right now. Is Anakin a Force ghost? People are saying no, that it's the world between worlds.
So they're in the world between worlds, with a
Explain
place
that.
that was set up in Rebels. That it's not time travel, but it's a place where the biggest Force events in the universe are connected as one event.
Yeah.
And so you can, in theory, kind of run around between them, but you can't go back to them. You have to go out the same way you came in.
And Ahsoka's already been.
She's already been there
In this place when she died.
Yeah.
And Ezra brought her out.
Mm-hmm.
If that is in fact where they are, can we bring Anakin out? I know they're not going to do that, but could we?
No, because again, you can't.
Because this is what I say: bring Anakin out. I know it erases the sequels. I say let it die, let it die, let it die, let it shrivel up and die. Because I've always been like, what if I could just actually, like, I always gaslight myself when I watch Revenge of the Sith into thinking he's not going to turn, he's not going to be bad, and I'm like, what if after all this time I could get my Anakin happy boy? But I'm not going to get that. But could we bring him out of there if she wanted?
Well, it depends on what he is right now.
Do you think he's a Force ghost?
So
there's debate. There's a lot of debate.
I've heard
that.
some people in the Force ghost camp have said, well, yeah, Force ghosts glow when they're not in the world between worlds, but we've never seen a Force ghost in there before. So for all we know, this is where the Force ghosts hang out regularly.
And they communicate with people because, like, they showed that in the sequels. Didn't they show Luke and like Yoda even communicating?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so some people say he's a Force ghost, but the reason he's not shimmering like one is because this is where they're supposed to hang out.
And he is the chosen one.
I think that knowing Dave Filoni the way I think I do, that there's going to be some connection to the an arc from the Clone Wars. And he's going to end up, he's kind of taken up the mantle of the father, a very powerful force-wielding being that kind of helps guide and make sure that balance remains. And he can fulfill that job because he has been both the light and the dark. So he understands both sides of the force.
So that is my next point. There are people, and I've zoomed in and I've tried to see if I can tell. People are saying that while that's Anakin, it's Vader's saber.
I think it's just the lighting.
That's what I think. I think it's the lighting lightsaber. And people are reaching because it really did. We had that joyous moment and we got to see Anakin, Hayden genuinely smile. And as soon as they did that, they went into that Vader theme.
That is
instantly.
That lightsaber is the Youngling Slayer 9000.
Okay. Anyway, that's my man's.
It was a good episode. It was a great episode. Like you said,
they were right into the credits though, and I'm like, no.
Like you said, probably one of the best Star Wars live action Star Wars episodes, or anything's for a very long time. Do
you agree with my take? The best since the? Are you like? I want to just say to you real quick before Daniel answers this question, that while I was joking about the sequels, I did enjoy the sequels. I had fun seeing them in theaters. I just think that they suffered from not a cohesive direction, literally, with different directors. And I just never felt the connection to those characters like I did the prequels and the originals. And I am a staunch prequel supporter. So I still did enjoy the sequels, though. So now you may proceed. I know you like The Last Jedi, right?
Liked The Last Jedi. Mm-hmm. Does it make any sense to be episode 8? No. Does it make any sense to be in that trilogy at all? No. I think in a bubble, that is a great Star Wars movie, and it doesn't rely on nostalgia to get you excited for things. So, as much as exciting as Anakin Skywalker showing up at the end of this episode is, the fact of the matter is, it's nostalgia.
Well, if you're not with me, then you're my enemy. And Anakin, we deserve this. We've barely gotten any Anakin because I guess they just wanted, when Disney first got the sequels and stuff, they really wanted to pull away from the prequels as much as possible because of all the, over dramatic, I guess, Xers and boomers that just hated them so much. Pfft, you guys are wrong. And it felt like it was just like we got a little bit of Vader, but barely any Anakin. And I just feel like finally, like, people are recognizing that there are a lot of us that love Anakin Skywalker. And watching the Clone Wars made me like Anakin Skywalker even more. Now, I have heard that there were scenes that Rosario and Hayden filmed on Mustafar doing like the fight scene like he did with Obi-Wan. I don't know if that's true. I think my working theory right now, and again, this episode is going to air tonight, so I could be totally wrong, is that Ahsoka's going to want to bring him out of there and see if she can bring him back, and he's going to be like, no, it had to be this way. And it's going to show all the different possibilities. Remember how I was joking around, like, I want a Star Wars What If show?
Yeah, I think it's almost going to be like a mini What If episode where Anakin has to show her, hey, listen, everything went down the way the Force wanted it to go down. I'm sorry. It sucks. It doesn't suck for anybody more than me, but this is how it had to be. Now, but going forward, you still have choices that you can make. In particular with your Padawan that has made some tough, rough choices, but you need to show Sabine some forgiveness and go forward with it, I think is the message that Anakin's going to be displaying.
I hope so. I will be brokenhearted if that Vader music meant something and he instantly goes into some like Vader move or bad Anakin. Like, that's going to break my heart, and I want to trust in Dave not to do that. So I'm going to try to be optimistic. I know a lot of the actors that filmed on the show, they are all saying that episode 5 is their favorite. Clearly, they're putting, and it is the mid-season finale as well of Ahsoka. They're putting it in theaters. You can go see it in theaters if you want. For me, seeing it, I knew Anakin was coming back, but I didn't know it would like hit me in the feels so much. And I always loved, like, Anakin has those 3 very significant relationships. Obi-Wan, obviously Padme, and then Ahsoka, who you get to, if you haven't watched the Clone Wars yet, go watch the Clone Wars because it is worth it. So I could talk about this forever. I have seen that scene 30 million times. I've read so many previews. Theories. You don't read a preview. I've read so many theories. I was never the type like you, like even before. What was the Rise of Skywalker? Is that what the last one was called?
The last movie?
Yeah, the last movie. Like, Daniel was always the type that was reading theories and stuff before that. I always wanted to just go in and watch it for what it was. But now that you gave me Anakin and then you had to insert that Vader music at the end, this is the first time where I've been like, okay, what's going to happen? What's going down? And I still don't know. And it's just really fun to be this excited about Star Wars again.
I agree.
So, moving on. Speaking what murder? Speaking of murders, we have only murders in the building. We finished episode 6 called Ghostlight. Do you want to kick things off?
Well, I mean, finally a good episode. Like,
I agree.
A really good episode.
Still doesn't compare to the first 2 seasons, but best episode is season 3.
Only to, by the end of the episode, have the trio in a worse condition than they started. This episode worked mostly because they were more together this episode than they had been all season, even though they were kind of apart at the same time.
And they even had like meta comments about that, about like how they hadn't been like, who are you working? Why are you working with someone else? You showed someone else the board. So I feel like the writers are self-aware of what they're doing. But this is your classic, truly breaking up with the band, so to speak, episode. The description for it was, all roads lead the trio back to the Gooseberry Theater during a nerve-rattling thunderstorm. With Howard as their jittery guide, they track a legendary ghost who's haunted the theater for generations.
I like a good ghost story, too.
Yeah, so was the ghost real?
No.
Because at first we were thinking it wasn't real because it was the one guy, but then the lights and stuff were working. Was the ghost actually there?
I think they were just playing around with it. But
okay, I was a little fuzzy on that.
Is the light on the stage like an actual theater thing?
I have no idea.
The ghost light or whatever.
I wasn't really a theater kid.
Oh, me neither.
So I have no idea. But it was my favorite episode of the season. Let's see, I don't know his name on the show. The one that's hooking up with Selena. I just call him Jackson from Grey's Anatomy. I don't trust him.
No, not at all.
He's one of my suspects. But then I'm like, I still don't think Meryl's character is the one that killed Paul Rudd's character, but I think she's cuckoo.
Yes.
for Cocoa Puffs.
She's cuckoo. I don't think she killed Paul
I
Rudd.
read a really good theory. Yeah. I can't talk today. I read a really good theory. I did read a
Good thing we're doing a podcast.
Right? This is how excited I get when you just put Anakin back in my life. Sorry to go back to Ahsoka. But I read a good theory about Oliver being and I don't think they're going to make it one of the 3 leads, but some of the stuff like checked out, and they went clear back to season 1. Like where Oliver was first found in the one guy's room, like using his fireplace because they had shut off the fireplace. Like the person put in the work that like it's been Oliver running the show all along, and I'm like, what? So
I mean, if they're sure this is going to be the last season, that could be an interesting way to close it out. No,
I
but
just
I don't
want
think
Selena
they're
to be.
way.
And there's also things about Mabel doing it too. She's wanting to keep her, her grandpa's there with her. Episode 7, which airs tonight, says Charles finds an unexpected source.
Oh, you mean tonight as in the night this podcast goes out, not the night we're recording it. Okay, I was like, what?
I was wondering why you were looking at me like that. It's called Cobro. Charles finds an unexpected source for a major clue. A Broadway icon comes knocking at Oliver's door, and Mabel forms an alternate trio to pursue a lead that sheds light on Ben's Bro and Cobro history. So I'm guessing Mabel's new trio would be Jackson from Grey's Anatomy and Tina Fey's character,
probably,
who's been wanting to form a podcast with her.
Yeah.
So how do you think? I mean, we've got 10 episodes. We just finished episode 6. Episode 7 airs tonight. So we're getting down to the wire. If you had to pick right now, who do you think the killer is?
I don't really know. I don't think
they're going to do Oliver.
I don't think it's going to be Oliver. I think it's going to be one of the new characters that's been introduced.
Yeah, same.
It's just who.
Or
Maybe
it'll
it's
be
multiple.
Or it'll be just a total mess around and be different, and they'll just do something different.
Yeah, who knows what they'll do. I don't know. I'm not. Sometimes I don't know if it's because my enthusiasm for this one's not as high as it has been. I just haven't been really like doing the mind tricks to try and figure out, read between the lines and figure out what they're doing here.
I mean, my whole mind has just been, why did the Vader music play after I saw my beautiful Anakin? That's just where my mind has been for a week.
Okay.
All right. So, here's your weekly Star Trek reference. Take it away, Daniel.
Hey, we're a couple days late after Star Wars Day here, but Star Wars Day happened. And
Star Wars Day?
Yeah, September something was the...
Star Wars Day?
Jeez.
You call yourself a Trekkie? Shame.
Hey, everybody, we're a couple days late from Star Trek Day here. It's in September. It's the anniversary of the original series airing on TV, and they dropped Lower Decks Season 4, which is the cartoon show. It's kind of if you've seen like Rick and Morty or Futurama or those kind of shows, it kind of does that kind of thing. It is canon, but it's lighthearted and funny, and I think it's...
Well, they showed up in Strange New Worlds.
If you're a Star Trek fan, you're definitely going to enjoy the show because it's a lot of referential humor and a lot of nostalgic humor, which, again, I rip on nostalgia a lot, but that's because this show is intentionally that way. Like,
so you're like, when it's my nostalgia, I like it.
But it's the point of the show.
Okay, he's getting passionate.
Entirely
I'm getting a look,
is
y'all.
nostalgia. And ripping on that and making fun of things Star Trek has done, where
you're Star Wars in your head.
Star Trek, other shows like Picard Season 3 even relied on nostalgia as plot points to get people to show up and watch. Same thing with...
I'm all about nostalgia personally. So.
Like Mandalorian Season 2 with Luke showing up was all about nostalgia and that kind of thing. And so...
I'm all for it.
You got to be careful with it. You overuse it on a serious note, and it gets a little much. But in the case of Lower Decks, they go overboard on it, and it's on purpose because it's a comedy show, and it's meant to be funny. It's meant to be self-deprecating. It's meant to be making fun of and celebrating the weird, quirky stuff that has happened on Star Trek over the course of 60 years of the franchise existing. It's a great show. I wouldn't really probably recommend it to...
Nice.
No. I wouldn't recommend it to people who are not Star Trek fans already
what about
established.
Me?
Maybe.
Okay.
You could watch it, and I think you'd get some of it. But when they start talking about Deep Space Nine and Voyager, even the original series and the movies to a certain extent, you're really more of a Next Gen person and the offshoots of Next Gen. And that's about it. And so some of the humor would probably go past you or like, oh, look at that funny thing. Haha.
And this is after Next Gen, right?
Yeah, this is after the Next
timeline.
Generation, including the Next Generation movies, but before Star Trek Picard takes place.
Okay.
So it's kind of in that intermediate period in there.
They're starting to have themselves a Star Wars timeline with all this stuff going on.
Oh, yeah, they've got a huge timeline now. So it's good. I like the first episode. If you're a Voyager fan, you'll really like the first episode. Check it out. Otherwise, I'll keep watching and reporting back. Make getting Star Wars references into the podcast each week a little easier.
You said Star Wars again.
I'm just going to shut up now for a little bit.
It's because this is with the power of Anakin Skywalker.
She's infected my mind.
I guess so. But yeah, nostalgia. I like it. So I watched, finally, the new live action The Little Mermaid movie on Disney Plus. It was finally on there. That's something I wanted to see in theaters. I usually do see those movies in theaters, but they just happened to put it out at a very busy time of year for us. Then we went on vacation. Then I don't know what happened to the summer. Went by. So I waited till it was on Disney Plus to watch it. I enjoyed it. I'm just my stance on these movies remains. Disney just doesn't need to make them, but if they continue making them, I'm going to watch them and I'm probably going to enjoy them. I think that people are a little crazy when they get really uptight about these live action movies, like don't see it and then it's not that deep. I think some of the craziness towards this one was absolutely racism. Like, let's call it what it is.
Sure.
And then I just think some people just want to complain about like really minor things. And no, the Country Bear Jamboree at the beginning of this podcast is not a minor thing. That's serious.
That's history.
That's history.
That's history.
That's sacred. But I really liked this. I thought that the cast did good. There was all those pictures of like Flounder and Sebastian looking weird. When I watched the movie, they didn't really look that weird to me like they did in those posters. The whole lyrics changed to Kiss the Girl. I can tell you, if I hadn't read that they were changing the lyrics, I was just so happy to be singing along and watching a fun movie from my childhood on my screen that I wouldn't even noticed that the lyrics changed. And also, what's wrong with changing the lyrics to have it more about consent? That's fine. I liked it. I can tell you as a kid, I was a simp for Prince Eric. Loved me some Prince Eric cartoon. And I got to say, I love Prince Eric as an adult too. He got to have his own number where he sang. I really liked his song. That actor did a good job. They were able to provide more depth to Prince Eric, which I enjoyed. And that's one of the things I do think these live action movies do. Like in the case of the Aladdin one, Jasmine got more depth, for example, than what she had in her cartoon counterpart. So it was fun. If you like Disney movies, I would recommend it. Again, it's not necessary for Disney to make these movies, but if they insist on doing them, I'm going to probably watch them and I'm going to probably enjoy them. It's not the best live action one they've done. I still think Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin are probably the better ones, but it was still good.
So he has more depth in this movie than in the cartoon when he is literally Guy who finds all his girlfriends washed up on the beach.
What are you talking about?
Eric.
All his girlfriends.
Yeah, he meets Ursula's and Ariel just naked on the beach when they...
That's not how he meets them.
It's not?
No. What Little Mermaid are you watching?
When she gets her legs and she shows up on the beach and that's where they meet.
Well, she already rescued him.
Right, but he doesn't really remember that.
And then Ursula disguises herself as the girl to try to stop because, man, you don't know anything.
Oh, I guess we never saw how Ursula comes into the picture. She just kind of pops up all of a sudden.
You poor unfortunate soul. Let's move on. Is there anything you want to ask me else about The Little Mermaid?
No, I'll just let everybody know that I was down in my office as she was watching it, and I could hear the sing along and the crying that came along with all.
I always cry when I watch it. And let's just say, by the way, King Triton, he likes the ladies because he has a lot of daughters.
He's a ladies'
man. A lot of daughters.
With what I can only assume to be a lot of mothers.
Yes. So continuing on the nostalgia theme. What else have we been doing?
We've continued to watch The O.C.
The O.C., and we've watched quite a bit. We're going to talk about it a little bit differently this time, but we are going to discuss episode 16, The Lynx, episode 17, Rivals, episode 18, The Truth, episode 19, The Heartbreak, episode 20, The Telenova, episode 21, The Goodbye Girl, and episode 22, The L.A. So in these set of episodes, we had the Oliver arc that really just got started the last time we talked about it. So we went through the highs and lows with Oliver, obsessed with Marissa.
I just hated that arc entirely.
Nobody likes the Oliver arc. Nobody. Do I feel more sorry for Oliver now as an adult watching than when I was a teenager?
He'd been abandoned by his children or by his parents.
By his parents. Never see the parents.
Never.
I don't think we ever see Oliver again.
Good, hopefully.
Hopefully he's getting some help. We find out who Natalie is, Oliver's girlfriend. Cause I couldn't remember. I was like, I know Natalie's a person, but I couldn't remember who. It turned out she was the one that works the front desk.
The hotel receptionist, yeah.
Yeah. Luke was like the only one to really believe Ryan. No one really believed Ryan. So
the only reason Luke believed him is because he happened to be on the other end of that golf cart.
Yeah, where they go to Palm Springs and they're playing golf, and Oliver tries to run into them. But I think even more than that, I think Luke could just see right through the kid.
Sure.
And knew that, like, I think he saw that from that perspective. But I sensed Luke he still does care about Marissa, even though he's about to make some questionable choices. So we finally get through the Oliver arc, and Ryan and Marissa break up again for the millionth time.
Ryan just cannot help but punch people.
He loves to punch people.
He punches the crap out of Oliver, and Oliver was goading him to do it.
Oh yeah,
to get
Ryan
rid of him,
fell for it.
To get rid of him, but Ryan just keeps falling for it, and it's kind of infuriating that he's not learning anything.
Ryan is wrong place, wrong time. Ryan.
Oh,
always.
absolutely.
Always.
The only thing I'll say about these next couple episodes as they start to go is sometimes Ryan is in the wrong place, but at least somebody else is there with him.
Oh, like Seth?
Yeah, and so it's not just him against the world anymore, because now other people are there with him to see these things he's seeing. But he is still there. Just that is this, at least this season, basically in a bubble, is Ryan at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Oh, for sure. And after the Ryan arc, we make way for the return of Teresa, Ryan's childhood friend. So episode 19, The Heartbreak, that sets the stage for that. The Teresa arc, which really is going to take up most of the rest of season 1 from my memories. That episode I particularly like because Seth and Summer finally get together. They really get together very quickly, though. They instantly, hook up in the sense that you and I think
how we
means,
understand hooking up to mean.
Doing it. And we get Seth's infamous Nemo line. He's like, I was like Nemo and I just wanted to go home. And then I'm like, wow, a Finding Nemo reference. And then I realized Finding Nemo probably just came out then. It came out in like 2003?
I don't know.
I think so.
Probably.
That's how old Finding Nemo is.
Yeah.
Because I still consider Finding Nemo as one of like the newer Pixar movies, like in my brain, and so incorrect there. The telenovela, am I saying that right? Episode 20.
Yes, telenovela.
That is, I have to reference this one specifically because, again, as a Seth and Summer fangirly, that's where we have the Seth and Summer famous kiss on top of the coffee cart when he's like, acknowledge me now or lose me forever. The Patrick Park song plays. It's beautiful moments. And I felt like you got to see more because it makes you think at the beginning that Summer's just embarrassed by Seth. But then you realize that she's afraid that he'll just get bored of her like everybody else does. And then she would have the embarrassment of being dumped by Seth Cohen. So I thought that was really nice. But that episode also brings us the start of the Luke and Julie flame. The ick.
Ugh.
What do you think of that? Ugh.
It didn't,
It's
after
gross.
having not seen it for 15 years or however long it's been since I saw it the first time, it's not
Still
any better.
gross.
It's still gross. It's less of...
I'm less mad at Luke.
Less mad at Luke, yes, exactly. But still, he still plays his part.
Yes,
but
he's
he
a
is
child.
also the minor in the situation.
He's a minor. He's a kid. He's the victim in this situation, period. I used to watch this, and I was so angry at Luke while I was also, because obviously we know Julie is evil. Like, she has her good moments, but she's the villain. But now that I watch that now, I'm even more grossed out by Julie because she is the adult. She is the grown-up. Even if Luke, initially was the pursuer, it's wrong. Yeah. He's in high school. It's gross.
Julie Cooper, by the way, being the mother of Marissa, who was Luke's girlfriend for quite a long time.
Marissa lost her virginity
so
to Luke.
That was gross.
It makes the whole thing is just ick.
And then, of course, that's when it started, so we haven't gotten to Seth and Ryan seeing it yet, right?
No, I think they do because they see it right. They see them together, I think, at the end of
Oh yeah,
The
you're
Goodbye
right.
Girl.
Yeah,
So we
you're
have
right.
Anna's last episode. Got rid of Anna way too soon.
Way too soon.
I would have liked to seen Anna stick around. Even we know that Luke's eventually going to leave this season. I would have liked to have seen both of those characters stick around more. One of the main things I've noticed in this rewatch is how much plot
Oh, it's
they
crazy.
have crammed into one season. And I'm like, did you not think you're going to get another? And even the showrunner on interviews now, like 20 years later, has said like, I would have not done as much in season 1. I would have kept Anna around longer. And it's not because she's like a foil to Seth and Summer. I just think we could have done more with that character. We could have done more with Luke. And in her last episode is probably, I remember at the time watching the OC, it was one of the first times I really cried, where she and Seth are saying goodbye at the airport. I love a good airport chase, but my heart really broke for Seth because, of course, Seth has Ryan. He now has Summer. But Anna was just somebody he really connected with on that friendship level that kind of helped him. Anna helped Seth.
Yeah, she helped
was
him.
the pixie dream girl in a way. She helped him find his footing, confidence going, and I just thought they had a really touching goodbye at the end. And then Teresa leaves, I think, at the end of that one for a bit, right? Before we know she's going to be back, but she leaves, and that's how Ryan and Seth catch Luke and Julie, because they go back to the motel where Teresa and Ryan were. The famous Mermaid Inn
his watch or something was
Newport.
left there, so they went back to get it.
It was some plot point that they had to go back and get it, and they see
Luke coming out of the hotel room and Julie
kissing
watching.
and kissing
yeah,
Julie.
and it's like, ugh.
So that's when we have the next episode, the LA, and that's where they distract Marissa. Because they're like, okay, Luke, you got to end it with Julie. Like,
Right.
Ryan basically is threatening to punch Luke again. What's new?
They're trying to make it so that she never finds out.
Yes.
Which
Because
was
they
never
know
going to happen.
They know that would just destroy her, to find out that her mother's hooking up with her boyfriend. And this episode I liked because while there was that huge serious element, and at the end it gets serious, it brought it back to more that lighthearted kind of meta thing. So the LA was an obvious play on the OC. And the guy's party who played like almost like the Seth-like character.
What's that actor's
Tom
name?
Hanks' son.
Yeah,
Colin Hanks was in it. It was funny.
Paris Hilton was in
Yep,
there too.
Paris Hilton was in it too. It was a funny episode. They found Haley working as a stripper.
Yep.
Kirsten's sister, so Jimmy has to go get her. But I even liked the scene where Summer's character is like watching clips of the show yet to air, and the character that clearly plays who she's supposed to be on the OC comes in, and she's like, oh my gosh, you guys are dating? Because at the time Rachel
Right,
and Adam
yeah.
used to date, and she's like, what if you guys break up? What are you gonna do? Blah 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 blah. And I just thought that was funny.
Again, Ryan is still just so unhinged, because even in that episode, they're getting kicked out of that.
Oh,
They're getting kicked out of the
get
club.
kicked out of the club, and
he
the
just like
bouncer.
nose to noses up with that bouncer, except he has to look up to him.
I was gonna say, he's not nose
and
to
he's
nose,
got like,
he's like-
that bouncer's got like 100 pounds on him. Like, what are you
bouncer
doing?
looked like he was more than a foot taller than him.
My gosh,
I think skinny Marissa could have taken the bouncer better than Ryan at this point.
It's just he has no sense of what he's a small dog going after whatever, and he has no idea what has happened to him when he actually catches it.
He definitely has the savior complex. I think Ryan Atwood's savior complex is worse than Lucas Scott's from One Tree Hill.
Yeah.
Because Lucas really only had it for Peyton, if you think
Correct.
about it.
Yes, Ryan has.
Whereas
it for everyone.
Ryan wants to help everyone. It doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah.
And it's good that you want to help people, but do it the Sandy Cohen way.
Jimmy Cooper has this as the actual saving in that episode, because he shows up right as Ryan's face to face with the bouncer, and because the guy's like, "What are you going to do?" and Jimmy's like, "What are you going to do? They're kids. These are high
Exactly.
schools. What are you going to do? Beat them up?" That's going to really go well for you guys.
The Jimmy Haley relationship too, and I have no idea or memory of how it fizzles out. I know it obviously does, but I could have used more of that.
I think I agree. I like that, and I think the fact
like
that
it.
you and I both have no memory of it means it's probably not long for this world.
It's probably not going to last
But
very long.
I really like that dynamic. I don't know. There's so many dynamics that they go through, and like you said, it's such a plot-heavy show sometimes.
It is. It's hard to remember.
It feels like we've watched 3 seasons, but we're barely through the first season.
We had to go back through our show notes because we have watched a little bit past this point that we're talking about. But we were like, all of this happens right now. Like, I couldn't even remember the Teresa arc, like how much she's in season 1. I was like, oh, I thought that comes up in season 2. And I'm like, no, I think that's all about to happen in these final few episodes that we have left. So, yeah, a lot. I can definitely say, though, that while there's a lot of plot, I think that season 1 of the OC is probably one of the best starter seasons of any show I've ever seen, at least in the teen drama realm.
In the certainly in the teen drama genre, I guess you would say. I think
Sandy Cohen, man, still a treasure.
Still a treasure. Still a treasure.
Every
Human
level.
should be celebrated.
He should be. We should have Sandy Cohen Day.
Yeah.
Anything else that you want to say?
No, I'm enjoying the OC. I'm glad we're rewatching it.
Me too.
So we're getting, like she said, we're a little bit ahead now of what we've been talking about. What we're trying to break it up. So we're gonna talk about the end of the season, and then before we jump into season 2. But everybody out there, be thinking. Eventually, like we're moving through these at a pretty good pace. So once we get the OC done, we got to watch something. We're going to rewatch something else.
Yeah,
so
another throwback show.
Toss your suggestions out there.
And we do have your suggestions again for new shows.
Yes.
On our list, ready to get started on those.
We've got this fall is going to be the beginning of kind of the drought times.
Yeah.
And so a lot of I know we've had a lot of the Hijack show on Apple TV, Severance on Apple TV. There was another one that I'm forgetting.
Well, I'm going to start watching the morning show.
The morning show, yeah.
Mrs. Davis.
Yeah, that's on Peacock.
Which we don't have Peacock.
And so we have heard your suggestions on those shows.
And we are listening.
We are going to be watching them, but we're going to kind of save. We're actually
I just realized something.
Gosh. Can I finish what I'm saying first?
Yes.
What we think we're going to do for a lot of those shows is watch them almost as a weekly over the fall to kind of help us get through the fall.
Unless we get super into it.
Yeah. that rule always
Can't
apply.
make any promises.
We may say, well, we watched episode 1 of this show, and then the next week we're like, we finished it because we have no chill. Especially, I think most of those shows we've named only have one season.
Yeah.
So we'll go through them pretty quickly. All right, Hope.
Okay, speaking of I'm listening, we have a date. Frasier starts in October. Is it the 12th? I think it's the 12th.
Yeah.
I know it's sometime in October. How are you feeling about Frasier?
Oh, I'm not excited at all.
You're not excited?
No.
I am cautious.
Everybody, I just want to put a warning out there to you.
Frasier's my favorite sitcom of all time.
And she will be devastated if it is bad.
I will be. I am wounded.
It will put a cloud over this show for the entire period of time that we are watching it. You will not abandon this show if it's bad like you will have others. You will see it through, correct?
I will see it through.
Yeah, so you'll see it through, but you won't be happy about it if it's bad. I'm not hoping for it to be bad. I want it to be good. But I'm concerned, and my primary concern is that Kelsey Grammer... Well, no, Niles is tough, but we've known that for a while. My concern is that Kelsey Grammer is going to insert himself too much in as Frasier.
Well, I'm already concerned at one of the descriptions that says he drinks fancy bourbon. I'm like, you spelled sherry wrong.
I can see that because bourbon has kind of become the new fad liquor over the last maybe decade or so for a lot of guys. And so I say a lot of guys as I have a brand new bottle of bourbon in my cabinet. But
you didn't get the Brothers bourbon, the brand I told you to get?
They don't sell that at the Rite Aid.
I was going to say, Paul Wesley's brand.
They don't sell that down at the Rite Aid. If you want to get me a bottle for my birthday, I'll accept it. So that doesn't bother me, but I'm just worried about kind of the Picard effect, where to a certain extent, Picard season 2 was ruined by Patrick Stewart inserting his personal stories into the show. And I'm concerned that might be happening here. But I am
excited to take this journey.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, guys. Have a good week.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of We Watch TV, a podcast about the TV shows we watch. You can find more from Hope and Daniel on Instagram at We Watch TV Podcast. Drop us a line if you like the show, have a question, or a recommendation. You can find Hope on Twitter at Lil Runner and Daniel on Twitter at The Real Hobo Dan. Music for today's podcast was provided by Your Tunes from Pixabay. Artwork was created using the AI program Midjourney with prompts written by Daniel.